Hey Cochrane High, Jody here. Happy to do some yoga with you guys today. It's a really nice day outside, and I can see that there's actually a few of you watching, so thank you for tuning in. Today is, I think, our third last class or second last class, Kyle? Third last. We have two more after this. Last week we talked about head, neck, and shoulders and loosening up that area a little bit. Today we're going to talk about the side body. So essentially, from underneath the shoulder to the top of the hip is a part of all of us that gets condensed from sitting down. And we kind of get this bunchiness through the waist and through the ribs. So we're going to take some poses today that focus on lengthening not only the spine, but the side body. And over the years, as I've been teaching yoga, I've noticed that a lot of students will say to me after a class that has a focus on side body openers, that people just report that they feel really good afterwards. So hopefully you can check in with yourself after class and just see what it feels like for you. And yeah, this class will be about 35 minutes long. So let's carve out some time to move and breathe together. So a yoga mat if you have one. If you don't, as always, just some sort of a hard surface. And we'll get started this afternoon in child's pose. So let's meet up there. Take your knees as wide as your hips will comfortably allow. And then start to walk your hands forward so that your rib cage starts to spill between the bones of your legs. And for some people, it feels good to take the arms forward like me. And for others, it can be more comfortable to bend at the elbows and let your head rest on the backs of your wrist. See what feels best. But do find a way to ground your forehead. That's an important part of child's pose, is to have the head earthed. We want to feel that contact with the center of the brow with the floor or the mat. And just start to breathe a little deeper than your usual habit. A little bit longer on the inhale and exaggerate the exhale. Do one more like that. Big breath in through the nose. And you can let it tumble out the mouth if it feels good at this point in class. Later we'll seal the mouth down, but for now it doesn't really matter, nose or mouth for the breath. Okay, we're simply going to walk our hands towards the right. So if you're on a yoga mat, your hands will probably go right off the mat. I like to come onto my fingertips here because I can root down a little bit more and exaggerate the feeling of the side body opening. So your legs, your hips, your knees, everything stays as it was. It's just the torso that's moving to the right, and the left side gets that deep stretch. Let's do that on the right side. So hands walk left, right side body open. Sink a little heavier into your right sitting bone. Try to direct your right armpit down towards the floor. Your head is just kind of hanging free here. Good. Let's come back to center, and then we'll meet up on all fours, a tabletop spine. And then let's take the right leg back to the toes so that the toes touch the floor. And then root down into your hands to open up the back of your right calf, Achilles tendon, even the arch of your right foot. If you want a little bit more here, you could hover your left knee and then try to send your right heel down towards the floor. Keep pushing, keep breathing. Good, and then let's switch sides. Right knee down, left toes back. So push into your hands, find that good juicy stretch in the back of your left calf, arch of the foot. And then lift your right knee if you want more, left heel presses down. Good. And then knees come back under the hips, elbows underneath the shoulders. Tip your right toes out onto your left toes onto the floor beside you, like you're winging your shin out. Set your left hand just a little bit more in front of you, and then right foot comes to the sole. Reach all the way up. And then to get more into the side body, we're going to reach over top of the head, like the biceps coming towards the ear. Option to look straight ahead like me, or you can look down to the floor, or you can look up towards the sky. Okay, stay for one more big breath in, and then we're going to change this so that we get the stretch on the left side. So keep the legs just as they are. Upper body reaches up and over. Now, you'll notice that you won't move very far in shapes like this. One thing that happens in these side body opener poses is we want to go beyond our range of motion. Notice that you can still breathe long, slow, deep breaths in and out through the nose. And if anything starts to feel like the breath gets really shallow and choppy, then just back off a little bit. This is called gate pose. Good. And then come back to all fours. I'm just going to turn around so that I can face you on the second side. You're going to wing out your right shin, right foot, and then step onto your left foot. So find a nice long line here from the outer edge of your left foot reaching all the way up towards the ceiling. And then left arm, carry it up and over top of your head. Remember, find a comfortable gaze. That's an important thing in yoga. If we're straining and craning the neck to look up and the breath is choppy, then look forward. If you think about it, if you were standing on both of your feet, you were standing just normally, if you were to look left or look right, you wouldn't think one was better than the other. But sometimes when we're in a pose like this, we think it's better to look up, but it doesn't really matter. It's just like looking left or looking right. All right, push off the floor with that bottom hand, and then we're coming up to stretch the right side body. This left hand is going to fall a little bit like a waterfall down the leg, and then find a comfortable gaze. One more big breath in, not going beyond your range of motion, filling up the whole side of the right body with air. Good, and then come back down. I'm just going to spin around, and we're going to go back into a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under, press into your hands, lift your hips up towards the sky. And as if you're riding a bike and you're pedaling one heel and then the other. For some people, you'll have the ability, some of you will have the ability to send your heels down to the floor and keep them there. For most people, you'll have a little bend in your knees and the heels lifted. Both are really normal, both are fine. But keep the movement in the legs to keep the softening and the suppleness of the back body opening up here. Keep pressing into your hands. Don't lose the earth in your hands. And let your head hang really free and heavy, as if your chin is more towards the chest and your eyes are looking back. Okay, here's one of my very favorite ways to open up the side body. Take your left foot and step it into center and lift your right leg up towards the sky. Now you can be up on your left toes here, or you can have your heel down, doesn't matter. Bend your right knee and then tip open your hip. This is downward facing dog with a twist, but I think this pose does a really good job of getting into the side. In yoga and Sanskrit, the side body is called parsva. So a lot of the yoga poses have that word parsva when we're turning and twisting into the side body, lengthening the side. Good. Close your hip, and we're simply going to switch sides. So right foot steps into the middle, and then lift your left leg, hinge your knee, turn open your hip. So we get that added benefit of a hip opening pose, but the whole side body opening here. All right. Left foot steps down, and then tippy-toe your feet towards your hands. And when you get to the top edge of your mat or wherever you are in the room for you, soften through your knees a lot. Gather your hands behind your back. Drop your head. And if you have the ability to lift your arms away from the spine, go ahead and do that. If that's too much for the shoulders, and for a lot of us it is, you're going to continue to pull your arm bones down the length of your spine. So both are fine. They're just doing different things. But all of us are finding weight in the head and expansion through the shoulders, the upper head, neck, and spine. Okay, release the clasp of your hands. And then guide your hands onto the fronts of your shins, underneath the knees or above the knees, whatever feels best for the backs of your legs. And push into your shins to lengthen your spine. It's almost like someone was coming along and just gently tugging on your skull, just around your ears, to find your spine growing longer. You're creating that action with the hands right at your shins here. Couple more breaths. like you're getting longer through the waist. Okay, ground your left hand. You have to bend your knees a little bit more to find fingertips coming to the ground. Right hand to the spine. We'll take a little twist. Again, you can look up, straight ahead, or down. Switch sides. Right hand goes down. Notice my right knee is bending a little bit, and I'm keeping my left leg fairly straight so I can get that stretch on my IT band, outer hip. And then come back to a forward fold. Inhale, come up just halfway, lift and lengthen your spine. And then take a big step back with your right foot. Drop your right knee. Okay, I'm going to try to teach this class without blocks. I'm assuming nobody has blocks at home, but if you had something beside you that could give you a little bit of height, it might be helpful to have something come about halfway up here. So on the inhale breath, you're going to reach your arms up towards the sky. And then your left hand is going to come down. It might touch something. And then reach over towards the left with your right hand. And subtly lean back here. So we're doing side body openers, but also finding a bit of extension in the spine. Stay for a big breath in. And then on the exhale breath, both hands come down. Tent your fingers, crawl your left toes more forward so that your left leg becomes a little straighter. And then peel up your left toes. Right hip is going to come forward. Left hip is going to go up and back. Let's find some space in the back of your left leg. Keep your heart lifted. Keep your gaze more forward as opposed to down. Good. And then step all the weight onto your left foot. Frame it with your hands. Step back to a downward facing dog. March out your feet. Pedal out your legs. Let's take a vinyasa here. Remember, vinyasa is the series of movements that we do between the left and the right side body. Helps us to reset and helps us to get back into the breath if we've lost it. Inhale, come to the top of the plank pose. On the exhale, use your knees or lower down all the way to the belly. Or you could have used your toes there. Inhale, let's take a locust pose. Hands go back, feet lift up, heart and eyes forward. And then hands down, tuck your toes, go back to a downward facing dog. Lift your gaze to the space between your hands, walk your feet there. Inhale, lift and lengthen the heart, crown of the head, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, drop the head. Take a deep step back with your left toes, drop your left knee, and then use the inhale breath to carry your arms all the way up. Use the exhale breath to settle into the joints, so the shoulders, the hips, the knees. Okay, you might take something about halfway between the front and back of your mat here to place your hand on. Some of you might have the ability to touch your hand to the floor. If you do, that's awesome. Reach up and over towards the right, left side body opens. Little bit of a subtle back bend here. Keep your feet strong, keep your legs connected like they're trying to come in together to the midline. Good, and then both hands come down, frame your front foot. Walk your front toes, right toes a little bit more forward. And then peel up your right toes. So right away, we have to correct our hips a little bit. It's like they want to turn. Mine do anyways. So left hip comes forward. Right hip, it's like it's being sucked up and back. I'm on my fingertips so that I can save my shoulders a little bit. I don't have to come down and round the spine as much. Keep your heart lifted. Soft eyes, long breath. Take another full breath in, back of the right leg opening. And then exhale, all the weight pours onto that front foot. Tuck your back toes, downward facing dog. So inhale, we'll glide forward to the top of the plank pose. Lower chaturanga, body hovers like a board. Inhale, lift. Maybe you're ready for upward facing dog, or you can do that locust pose again where the feet lifted and the arms went back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale breath, lift your right leg up towards the sky. And as you breathe out all the air, step it forward to your hands. And then turn your back foot so that it's parallel to the back edge of the mat. I'm actually going to switch sides just so we can still see one another. And with your back foot parallel to the back edge of the mat, come up for a warrior two. So we build our yoga poses from the ground up. We want to start with the earth. So begin with your feet. So right toes pressing down, outer edge of the left foot, seal that down, and then get into the legs. Bend your front knee, and then this back leg is like a pillar. Take your arms wide, expand the chest, soften your shoulder blades. And then in this pose, the gaze comes towards the right hand, chin towards the shoulder. Okay, we're going to find some space in the side body from this warrior two pose. Flip your front hand, and as you breathe in, reach all the way up. As you reach all the way up, you might find that you can sink a little deeper into this front knee. I'm looking up, but you might stay looking straight ahead. Okay, so that's the right side body stretching. Let's do the left side. Mount your right elbow onto your right leg. And then keep drilling that foot down, pressing the outer edge of your left foot down, and then reach over top of your head. Try not to slump too much through the right side body. Keep that long too. Left side body nice and long. Good work. Come back up to a warrior two. And then pivot your right toes so that they're facing the same direction as the left. Reach your arms over top of your head. So the simple action of taking the arms over top of the head, weave your fingers together, press your inner hands up. The simple action of doing this, we find length through the waist, that part of us that gets really congested. Okay, let's use the core here. We're going to come down with the arms in this position. So the heart's going to go forward, the hips are going to go back. Let's pause in this tabletop position. Strong feet, strong legs, strong core. Good. And then hands come down underneath your face. Give your head a little shake here. Front to back, side to side. Now, probably my second favorite way to open up my side body after that twisted downward facing dog pose is this one. Crawl your left hand to your right leg. So whatever you can get a hold of on this whole right side body here. Might be your ankle, might be your calf. Now, once you've found something to hook onto, bend your left knee. Right hand to the spine. And then the more you kind of tug gently on this hand to shin, the more you'll open up through the whole left side body. You can take the gaze up if that's comfortable, but if it chokes out the breath, just look towards your foot. Stay with the effort for one more breath in. And one more breath out. Okay, release that side. Let's pause at center. Like we're doing a halfway lift with the spine. Come up onto your fingertips. And then we'll take that same pose on the second side. So walk your right hand to your left leg. Once you've made that hook, that connection, dip into your right knee. Left leg is fairly straight if you can make it. Left hand to the spine. And you might even be able to rest your ear in the hammock of your arm here. Good. Release, come back to center. We'll do one more little twisty thing as we're down here. Take your left hand to fingertips, or if you do have something to place your hand on, this is a really nice place. See how that changes everything when I put a block underneath my hand? Take your right hand to the sky. And then weave it underneath your wrist, reach to the left. Let's do that a couple times. You might be a little faster than me, a little slower than me, but we'll do two more. Good. When you finished your two, simply switch sides. Right hand is down, my arm is nice and straight, I'm not hinging at my elbow, and then wave open to the left. If you can, try to keep your legs and your hips really neutral and still here. Just the upper body's moving. Finding space in the ribs. Finding lots of space in the lungs. Let's do one more. Reach up. And then left hand down. And then let's spin around to the front edge of the mat. And when we get there, downward facing dog. On the inhale breath, top of the plank pose. On the exhale breath, lower all the way down. So remember in last class, if you guys watched the last one, which I'm sure you did, 100% I'm sure you did, put your forearms down on the floor. This is Sphinx pose. Keep the feet down, and then lift your heart, look forward with your eyes. And we're going to do a couple of these roll-ups. We're going to incorporate some of the work from last week's class into this one. So start to lift the navel, the ribs, the thighs, and then tuck your toes under, forearm plank. Good. Lower down, thighs, ribs, navel. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, plank roll up. So start to lift up like you're doming your upper back. Keep looking forward. Tuck your toes. Just a breath here. And lower back down. We'll do one more here. So Sphinx, heart lifted, nice long neck. And then start to lift up. Like the upper body is full of helium and it's lifting up and away from the floor. And then bring the legs along. Try to neutralize your pelvis. Like the front rim of the pelvis is coming forward. Good. And then lower down. Hands under shoulders. Downward facing dog. So vinyasa is a way for us to reconnect to the breath, but so is downward facing dog. So just take a couple extra breaths here. Sometimes when we do core work like we just did, we can lose the breath. Okay, let's lift up the left leg. Step it forward to your hands. And we're going to spin this back foot so that it's parallel to the back edge of the mat. And then we're going to come up into this warrior two. So on the left side of the body, on the second side of the body, we've already done all of this on the first side, on the right side. So this is where you get to apply and kind of remember what you learned on the first side and take it to the second side. So outer edge of the back foot pushing down, left big toe rooted. Good. Flip your front hand, reach all the way up. And if you have the ability, if you have more space, sink into your front left knee because that'll give more space and opening through your side body. Good. Switch left elbow to left knee, reach over your head. And then come back to a warrior two. Spin your left toes to the long edge of the mat. And we'll just recap a little bit from last week where we took arms over top of the head. Right arm crosses underneath left, fingertips to palm. Inhale, lift your arm bones up. Exhale, lower them down. So a couple more times like that. Piston the arms up. Lower them down. Last one, reach up. All the air out, lower down. Okay, keep your arms like this. We're coming forward. We're hinging right at the waist. Like someone was to karate chop you right at the hips. Stop halfway at the height of a table. Keep the firm press of your fingertips into your palm. Keep reaching your heart forward. Keep leaning your hips back. Good. Release your hands down. Drop your head. Give it a shake. Pad your fingers forward. And there'll be a point here where you'll just know that you have to stop because your legs won't let you go any further. Once you're there, push into your hands, baby giraffe pose. Let your head fall through the arm bones. Head is heavy. Keep pressing your fingertips into the floor. Okay, walk your hands back underneath your face and then reverse the position of your hands. So the fingertips are going to be backwards, thumbs forwards. Walk your fingertips back through the midline. And again, there'll be a point where you can't go any further. When you're there, drop your head. Don't lose the contact of your hands pressing into the floor. Stay connected there. Good. Hands come back underneath the face. We'll do a little halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale. Stay right here. Let's spin back to the top edge of the mat. And we'll take one more vinyasa, and then we'll meet up on the floor in a seated position. Inhale, top of the plank. Exhale, you just hinge at the elbows, slightly lean the heart forward, strong legs. Inhale, lift to a back bend that feels good for you. Remember, there's cobra or locust. And then exhale, downward facing dog. All right, let's meet up in a seated position. And take your legs wide. So this is another place where if your back body is really tight, and for a lot of us it is, I want you to sit up on something. So even a cushion, a rolled up blanket is a good idea, just so that you don't have to ask too much of the hamstrings here. So we're going to be here for a little bit of time. Okay, take the back of your left hand and pressurize it into the inseam of your left leg. And then notice that you can turn and twist from this point of origin, this twisting of the whole side body here. Reach your right arm up, and then let your right arm fall towards your foot. If your hand touches your foot, awesome. Remember, don't choke out the breath by going too deep or too far. Stay for another inhale. Stay for the exhale. Good. Come on up. Same pose, right side. Back of the right hand pressurizes into the inseam of your leg, which helps to turn the whole torso. Reach your left arm up, and then let it fall. Keep pressing into your right hand. Keep reaching with your left. Good. Come on up. Take your left elbow to your left knee, and then make a fist with your left hand. And like you're in school and you're not paying attention and you're just kind of hanging out here, let your temple rest onto your fist. Again, reach all the way up. And this time we're going to hinge at the elbow and just let your right hand be free. Don't let your feet fall asleep in this pose or your legs. Sometimes when we're doing seated poses, we can forget about the legs. As if you're standing on your feet, keep them active. And keep some tension, a little bit of resistance in the legs by lifting kneecaps into thighs. Good. Reach up and out. Switch sides. Right elbow to right knee, or whatever you can get on your leg here. You might even have something elevating, like a pillow or a blanket. And let your head rest, temple rests. Reach up. And then just relax your whole arm. Flex your feet, your toes in towards your shins. Good. Big breath in to come out. And then big breath out to stabilize here. Okay, a couple more things to do, and then we'll wrap up this session for today. Right foot into the inseam of your left leg. Take your right hand behind you, and then reach your left arm up, lift the hips, lift up. Take your left hand to hold on to the head, stretch the whole left side body. Good, and then lower down, switch sides. Left leg to right. Left hand behind you, reach up. And then fall back. Lower down the hips. Take the bottoms of the feet together to connect. Take your hands palms up. And then slide them underneath your ankles. If this is too much, you're going to go over top of your feet. If this is okay, you're going underneath, you're weaving underneath the ankles. Now with your arm bones on the floor, rooting down, lean back. You'll feel that your spine is like a bit of a turtle shell here. Drop your head, tuck your chin. And then inhale, come on up. So I just want to do one more thing before we end our time together today. Sometimes at the beginning of a yoga class, we'll do head, neck, and spine and shoulder opening. And I think it can be nice to put it at the end of a practice too, after we've been moving and breath has been moving through the body quite a bit for the last half an hour. And so these poses that we often place at the beginning of class, it can be nice to put them at the end of class too. So we're simply going to sit up tall, favorite shin in front, and then drop your chin towards your chest. Often we can feel the amount of tension in the upper back, the neck, when we do this simple act of dropping the chin towards the chest. Breathe here. And then bring your head back to neutral. And then right ear to right shoulder. So we've been working on the side body, and now we're working on this region of the side of the neck. A lot of tension there, like someone's pressing gently on your left shoulder. Let your left shoulder be heavy. So your eyes can be open or closed, but keep breathing here. The breath helps to dissolve tension. Come back up to center, left ear, left shoulder, right shoulder gets heavy. Good, come back up to the center. Right hand to the floor, left hand up and over top of your head. Sweep through the front, switch sides. Good, and then let's end with a little spinal twist. Left hand to right knee, right hand behind you, tented fingers, sit tall. Twist your spine. If you want to look back behind you, that'll give a stretch to your neck. And then right hand, left knee, sit really tall, big breath in. We find the depth of the twist on the exhale out. Just one more like that. Breath in and out. Come back to center. Let's take the hands together to touch thumbs to the center of the chest. Full breath in. Full breath out. Slightly bow the head, tuck the chin. So you guys are warm for any extra movement that you want to do this afternoon, today. If you're ready for a Shavasana, you can come and lay down, and I'll leave it with you guys to stay for about a minute or two, or even longer if you have the time in your day. Okay, otherwise, we'll end our class here together. Thank you guys for tuning in. 2 more classes to tune into before the end of the year, and we'll leave it here. Namaste, you guys.